Hello, Reverend Amy here, spiritual minister. And I don't do a lot of this. I'm working on doing more because life persists. I'm on my lunch break. The truth is, in the last 24 hours since the eclipse, especially, I've had a lot of thoughts, and they aren't new thoughts necessarily, but they're refined. They're refined to a key, and the key is that level of understanding that you choose to attain. And so for me, I've had a lot of topics that have come through that have new clarity, and I don't have a lot of time right now, relative time, that I've set aside to do videos on specific topics. But just in the last 24 hours, I've had at least 12 topics come to my head that I could have expanded on and expounded on for a good 15-30 minutes at least, because a lot of things diverge and connect, and there's examples, and everybody has a unique life. So one thing I didn't even count in the topics, but that I realized, is that I can only talk about myself. And to that context, those people that I resonate with, those people that I would be able to connect with because I understand them in some way, because I've looked at myself through that lens, and I understand myself and others through that lens because I've experienced that. I've worked through that situation personally or with someone else to gain understanding. And it's hard sometimes because we have our own prejudices or our own biases and our own understandings and things that we've been told, and those are all filters and lenses that we all hold, that we have to kind of wash out and sift the information through before we can get a true clear picture. And the sooner we close one of those portals, if you will, and we close off some level of neurological connection, if you will, we've already diminished our capacity to see beyond that level within ourselves. And so really that's kind of the filtering piece. And but outside of that, also we have our desire for unconditional love, many of us. And what we don't understand is what are conditions, and that's a whole other topic. But within that is, again, our prejudices or our biases or our misunderstandings or our inability to clear away from us our own way of viewing. And sometimes it can be hard because we come up against barriers with others that we're working with, or we come up with barriers within ourselves. And so one of the things that can happen is tension. And so being able to redirect the energy away from the fight, however that needs to happen. And if you understand the tools that other people use in order to not instigate a fight, you would have to accept what they've said and hear them out. And there's a lot of back and forth, and I could give examples for days on it. But the important thing is that as we're working through each situation, we have to see within ourselves where that situation hits a block. And at that point, that block is your actual trigger. So at what point am I feeling triggered, and what is my way of communicating that, and how does that look coming out of me when I get triggered for that? And we can learn certain techniques, and we can try to implement them and find what's working best for us as an individual. And once we work through that technique, when something new comes up and it hits a new block and a new trigger that we haven't worked through, because it's going to happen, because we have a lot of things that we need a lot of depth to clear, like the muddy waters, got to clear it out. It's like what's at the bottom of your ocean, so here we are, we're flowing through it. I've hit a new trigger warning spot. I've reacted badly, if you will, in a way that I don't want to. So how do I pull myself back? And I've pulled myself back now, and I'm okay, and I'm not triggered anymore. But I have to then do the research within myself to realize what was said, what did I actually hear, how did I process that, where did it come from within inside of me, and how do I clear that out? And that's just one of the tactile, functional ways that I can explain it, with all of the complexities of what it really looks like. But one aspect of each unique individual and the idea and concept out there that there's so much information is that we have the ability to kind of pick and choose a potpourri of what is actually useful for us. And some of us go down one path because that's what we're told to do, and we realize that that path doesn't work for us, so we got to pull back, and sometimes we got to pull back real hard, and that hurts and that doesn't help. So sometimes it's better to ease off that path, just slow down on that path, reflect on that path, see what that path's actually doing. Is it helping you, or is it bogging you down? Is there a clearer path? Is there some other aids around that could help you get over this part of the path that's not maybe the best for you? And so whatever it is that you're going through, there's a ton of opportunity to learn about what resonates with you and what connects with you. And one of the things we want to make sure we're resonating with is things that are advancing us forward as unique individuals and not restraining us from moving forward. Things that are holding us back oftentimes include things of the real 3D world that we involve ourselves in. And we may not realize that those things are holding us back because we aren't receiving the same level of reciprocation. So that's where our energy goes, our energy flows. And so when we don't have good connections over here, it reflects over here in these other connections. Sometimes those connections don't want to hear about it, and so our worlds diminish over time and we don't realize it because the inner work that we're doing isn't reflecting in our outer world because we're still living in that same situation. We're still complaining about the same things, and that's recycling. And if you're cycling like that, it may be time to take that fool's journey and take the leap and embrace yourself a little bit at a time so that you can make the decisions that are going to get you out of those things that are no longer resonating with you. I don't personally recommend jumping ship from your life, but a lot of people do find it helpful to just jump ship. So if that's something that works for you, just know that whatever baggage you carry along with you internally, from that still needs to be cleared. Otherwise your ship's going to sink in the next place too, so you kind of have to make sure that we're doing the work, internal and external, to reflect what it is that we truly desire in our lives. So that's all for me for now. Peace, love, and thank you for being with us.